Okay, this is my second time filming this because I'm definitely a little rusty. Hello everyone. I don't know if this is going to be the first video that I upload to my new channel, but it is the first video I'm filming for the second time. And I'm definitely rusty and a little nervous. I know a lot of you are probably wondering what happened to the old channel or just what was happening in my life, and I will share that eventually at some point. I just want to focus right now on moving forward and creating a new channel and creating the same energy and the same group of people who interact in the same amazing ways as the last channel. I've gotten so many messages since I deleted that channel, that were so uplifting and so supportive. And just want to thank everyone who reached out. Even if I didn't respond, I definitely saw all of your messages. And they really meant a lot to me. And that's why I decided to do another channel. I just missed it so much. And I thought I was doing myself a disservice by not pursuing this thing that I love to do. So thank you again. And I'm excited to share my journey throughout residency with you. Saying that, I am going to throw it back for my first video because I am in my first year of residency. It's making me think a lot about my first year of med school and going through some of the same or similar growing pains that I had then. So I wanted to share some advice that I would give myself during my first year of medical school. I hope you enjoy. So my first year of medical school, and I've talked about this in other videos on the old channel, but it was a little rocky. I definitely was stressed. It was definitely a whole different pace of life that I was not used to from college. And that being said, the first piece of advice that I would give myself is you will get through this and it will get better. I was just really stressed about the sheer volume of knowledge that we had to know, the details. It was like extra pressure because not only was I learning for tests and school, but I was also learning for my career, a career that I had dreamed about forever, basically. And so I definitely was anxious and had some issues with anxiety, and luckily had a great support system that helped me through that. But looking back on that time, it seems crazy because I love my life now and I love where I've been able to get. And so just I would give myself the advice that you will get through this. It's going to get better. It's all worth it in the end. Kind of more specific advice would be study every day, which sounds a little counterintuitive, but to enjoying your life. But in college, I feel like everyone would study for they would take classes and then just study 3 days before an exam, study for the test, take the test, forget everything, move on. And you can't really do that in med school. One, because there's too much information that you can't lock in 3 days before an exam. Two, you're not just studying, like I mentioned, for a test, you're studying for your career, and it's important that you remember all of this information. And so I think one of the best things to do is study a little bit every day, get that information down at least 1 or 2 passes, and then when you're studying for an exam, like 3 days before an exam, you're not learning information for the first time, you're relearning information and getting little details and solidifying things that you already knew. And it makes it so much less stressful. Kind of along the same vein, the advice I would give myself is don't focus on what everyone else is doing to studying and think that it will automatically work for you. You have to find out what works for you and don't be embarrassed if it's not what works for everyone else. So in my experience, a lot of people were using first aid or Anki to study and going to lecture. And those were 3 things that, as I kind of learned my routine, didn't work for me. I am one of the types of people who learn by writing everything down. So even if I don't read something over again, just the act of writing it down really helps me. And so instead of doing Anki and typing things out, I would eventually learn to physically write down my notes. And then my first year of med school, I would always go to lecture, and we had the option, all of our lectures were taped, and this is way easier in this COVID era, but all of our lectures were taped. And so we had the option of going to lecture and sitting through it in person, or listening to it at home. And I always went to lecture for the first year because I was like, oh, it'll make me focus. I'll be there. Like, I can't get distracted. I still got distracted. Versus at home, I could go through things at my own pace. I could speed up parts that I kind of knew well and felt comfortable with. And then I could slow down, pause, and rewind parts that I needed to go over again or take better notes on. And it was way better for me. And I didn't waste that hour of time going to lecture where I didn't truly think that it helped me absorb the information. You know, I did feel bad because I was like, oh, the professors, like, I want to show up so I can be there so they know I'm listening. But it's not like you're slacking off in medical school. You know, you worked so hard to get there. You're going to work to get the information down. And they know that some people just don't learn that way. And so by the time second year rolled around, I definitely learned what worked for me. The bells are ringing. My next piece of advice is try not to focus and get discouraged by what your friends who are not in medicine are doing, because you will not be able to live the same life as them. I think this is one of the things that I struggled with during my first year. My boyfriend was still in college. I was a year older than him. And so I was, you know, trying to study in med school. My weekends were spent studying for exams. I couldn't like go out on a random Tuesday night, and I would watch him having fun, and my other college friends who were working had money and fun, and they were all together in the same place, and I was somewhere else. And I had a great support system. I was close to my family. I made amazing medical school friends, but you're still kind of isolated in the fact that you have to study all the time, and it's hard for people to understand kind of what your life is like, and you haven't really gotten to grow up and live an adult life. You're still in school, at least for me, because I went straight through from college to med school as well. And so my friends were kind of like enjoying their life in the real world, and I was still kind of stuck in school mode. And that was definitely hard for me. But in the end, you realize you're working towards something, again, like a career that is so important and is something to be proud of, and you shouldn't focus on not being able to go out on a Tuesday night when you're working towards something that you've dreamed about your whole life, and it's something that you can have pride in later in life. And so that was something that I didn't realize until later. Kind of on the flip side of that, the other piece of advice I would give myself is first year of medical school, while it may not seem like it at the time, is one of the times where you have the most time in medical school / in the next 7-8 years of residency and med school together. You have like 4 hours of class per day, and then the rest of the time is yours to split however you like. And I did not fully take advantage of that. And I wish I had done so much more stuff with my friends. And everyone says that when later, like looking back, they'd wish they'd done that. And I again echo that sentiment. Just, you have so much more time than you think. And yes, you can study, but if you do it efficiently, you can have time to do other stuff and hang out with your friends and have bachelor nights and like watching The Bachelor and going out to dinner. Not that you have any money, or cooking dinner, or just hanging out and chatting on your porch. And I wish I had done more of that in medical school. This is a smaller thing, but something that really bugs me is do not buy those like $200 ophthalmoscopes and otoscopes. One, you use it like twice, and then even if you do use it in school or in clinic, there's always them on the walls of the clinic, and you don't actually have to bring them. They're not worth it. And then if you do end up being like ENT or opto, you have to buy better ones anyway. So it's just like such a waste of money, and you don't need to buy them. And my final piece of advice is kind of twofold. One, don't have your heart set on a specialty in your first year of medical school. And then two, don't be upset if your specialty changes, because you really know nothing. I didn't even know what a urologist was when I started medical school, and obviously that's what I'm now going to be. And I thought I wanted to do orthopedic surgery when I entered med school, and while I loved it, I just found it wasn't right for me, and that caused a lot of like existential crisis mode things, because that's like why I went to med school, to be an orthopedic surgeon. And then when I realized that that's not what I wanted to do, it was kind of weird to switch that mindset. So I would just say keep your options open, fall in love with what you fall in love with, and don't feel pressure to do something that you thought you wanted to do but ended up not really loving. That's that. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Sorry if it was a little rusty. I am again jumping back in, but I'm ecstatic and so excited to be back, and I'm really looking forward to sharing this part of my life with you guys and creating videos that I hope are as helpful as my old ones are. They are gone, and I'm sorry if you guys wanted them. I can try to re-record as many as I can, or re-record giving, I might have a different perspective now. But there's no use in dwelling on the past, and I'm excited to move forward, and I'm excited to hopefully recreate even better what we had before. So thank you everyone for watching. Thank you everyone who messaged me. Thank you everyone who was thinking about me, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.